Proudly South African's annual Buy Local Summit and Expo is this year a hybrid live streaming event from the IDC headquarters in Sandton. Now in its 10th year, the gathering aims to educate, inform and assist anyone with interest in creating jobs and rebuilding the economy using local procurement as a lever for growth. Themed Reset, Rebuild and Recover will showcase the role localization can play as a driver of economic reconstruction and recovery.
Yes, thank you. We are at the IDC Center in Sandton. This is where the Proudly South African Buy Local Summit and Expo is currently taking place. This is the second year in running that it is happening in hybrid format, which means that there's a session that's running virtually, and of course there is also a session that is taking place in person. We heard in the morning the Minister of Small Business and Development, Mr. Abrams, who had quite a number of remarks about what her department is doing to help improve localization, particularly within the SMME sector. But there are other events that are happening on the sidelines, and among those is a panel discussion that is taking place on harnessing the power of the fourth industrial revolution on job creation, localization and growing SMMEs. And this focuses on the role of the fourth industrial revolution, the role of technology. We've seen now during this pandemic how technology has had to take center stage in order for the world to keep on working or to keep on going. I have with me the founder of Robo Steam Train, who's going to share with us about where does technology or 4IR fit in within the localization, particularly in the South African context. Thank you so much for making time to speak to us on the SABC. Tell me a little bit about Robo Steam Train. Is it about a train or is it about robotics?
So the Robo Steam Train, we are training and we're doing robotics, and the STEAM part is essentially science, technology, engineering, art and maths. So we teach coding and robotics to primary school children, and we also train educators to be able to teach coding and robotics, as we know that our education system is moving in that direction.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about the future of work and that technology has a lot to do with it. Where do robotics fit in that in that sphere?
So robotics is something that has been around, contrary to popular belief. And what's happening now is that more automation is taking place. So the robots that have been running in factories are now being more automated and less man-handled. That's where we are going, or that's where we are hoping to get onto that bus as South Africa.
Yeah. The theme of the summit is rebuilding and the economy, as it were. How does technology fit in? How do we use technology as an economy to improve and rebuild and resuscitate the economy?
Technology is one thing that allows us to open up our minds and do so many different things. And because we are trying to become creators of technology and not just consumers of technology, it opens up the space for local business, for local growth and innovation, so that everybody can participate.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that have been said about having a proudly South African whether it's clothing, whether it's items, and you would know as an entrepreneur about what are the challenges of trying to cultivate this culture of proudly South African and not importing so much from other countries.
Yes, I definitely would. Cost is one major one. It costs so much more to do things locally than it is maybe to import from a much cheaper country. And the more we innovate, the more we produce from here, the cheaper it will start to become. So we're all hoping that we will start getting onto this bus and move on forward and localize everything.
Yeah. I can imagine that with you teaching robotics, things like components of what you use, you would need them to be manufactured locally in order for you to come up with a machine that is proudly South African. What is the standpoint right now? Do you have to import a lot of things? How are you navigating?
We have to import. We have to essentially import everything or buy from local suppliers who also have to import. So we're not yet at a point where we're able to manufacture our own devices here in South Africa.
Yeah. What would it mean for you if you had to come up with a robot that was completely manufactured here in South Africa?
It would mean the world to me. Right now we're importing the robots and we've got issues. Sometimes customs, sometimes COVID comes and our robots are stuck, in a different country. And in the process that we are already part of now to try and start developing here, it would literally mean that we are growing the ecosystem because suppliers would be local, designers would be local, engineers would be local, the children who play with them would be local. It will be for Africa, by Africa, in Africa. It'll be amazing.
And lastly, how would you like policymakers or government to help you to able to reach that dream?
Policymakers can start pushing funds and budgets towards empowering those who are in the rural areas. And this might not be where someone might think, but the ideas, the smarts, the innovations that come from those places are where this country's gold is sitting.
Tsegofatso Dludla, thank you so much for speaking to us here at the SABC. That's Tsegofatso Dludla. She's the founder of RoboSteam Train, and she trains children in robotics and engineering, I understand. And that is all from us here, but we will be having more interviews as they happen.